Hi, guys. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Customer Experience. And so today's topic is a good environment will result in a good customer experience. I'm talking about a good working environment. And there's a couple of points I would like to cover. So the first point is personal space and items. So I want you to think of yourself, put yourself in this position, and also think of your colleagues with regards to these examples. So when I talk about personal space and personal items, if you have your own desk, okay, so that is your allocated space. So when you're gonna put your cell phone there, you're gonna put your bag in the cupboard that was provided for you at your desk. You're going to put some of your books or whatever you need to, or you're bringing to work. You're going to put it in the drawer. There, if there's a key there, you that tells you that they allowing you to lock the drawers. Okay, so no random person can go in there and access it. Um, so of course, you're not assuming that your colleagues is going to steal any items. But remember, if you're in a customer facing environment, you are not able to track who is around your desk and who every single person that walked through that space, because there's no cameras there most likely. And if you seeing 100 people a day, then those people are split up between your colleagues and they seeing various divisions in your branch. So you don't know who's gonna come by your desk, for example, because if something goes missing, this is the main point. If something goes missing, how will you know who took it? And then what are you going to do about it? Are you going to then try and figure out if it was a customer? If there are no cameras, then how are you going to know which customer it was? Are you going to contact all those customers? And remember, there is a brand image that is now at risk, which means you can't exactly contact the customer, because now you're going to affect the actual brand you're working for. So, are you going to now accuse your colleagues? Are you going to now call everyone in the branch for a meeting and ask each one of them, making them feel like you are accusing them of being like robbers or something like that? People that are sneaky, that are scratching in your drawers, that want to take things out of your cupboard or took something from your desk, etc. This is why I'm saying when it comes to personal space, you need to respect other people's personal space and your personal space. So what is the best thing you can do in this scenario? So, if you do need to get something from your colleague's desk, then what you can do is wait till your colleague is at that desk and then ask your colleague to give that item to you. If your colleague needs something from your desk, you can expect your colleague to ask you to give that item, to go for you to open your drawer and for you to hand over the item if it is necessary. Um, because you want to avoid the result that I just spoke about. You don't want to go around accusing people, you don't want to disrupt the environment, you cannot contact the customers and cause a whole scene because your cell phone went missing or something important went missing from your desk. So when you go to work, and if you know it's not a closed office environment, for example, then don't take unnecessary valuables with you. Okay, take only what is necessary to your workspace. When you're at home, you can do whatever the case may be. You're not going to leave your watch on the desk, you're not going to leave your watch in the drawer, or whatever the case may be, enticing someone to come and grab it from your space. So remember, I am not saying that people will do that. It is in order to prevent the result, a bad result, which is accusing your team, or it is accusing customers and making yourself unhappy in that space. Because imagine something really valuable or precious to you. It might not be of monetary value, but it could be sentimental value. Maybe you are working on a loan book, for example, if you're working in a finance environment, whatever the case may be. You've got a customer or client book that you are recording the details in, contact numbers, referrals, etc. So that is something that's precious to you and you need that resource at work. So now imagine that thing goes missing, and imagine you've got like more than 10 people in your office. So now who are you going to ask if that thing is missing? Therefore, you need to take responsibility to put that thing in a place, and you need to also then know that you can tell your colleagues, like, or they should know that they shouldn't be going by your desk if you're not there, just to avoid the scenario that I just spoke about. Then I want to talk about also personal space. So if you're in an environment like that and you're seeing clients, it's a walk-in branch, etc., and now you have a bit of a break. Suddenly the branch is quiet. Now you want to just take a breather, you want to just make a call to a customer, you just want to make some notes on something, you just want to check an email, etc. Just be mindful of people's personal space, because if you have a favorite colleague and you waiting for a moment that the branch or the office is quiet, and then you run over to that person and you want to go and chat to the person, but the person has a lot on their plate, just keep in mind that um, for that person's well-being, they also require their personal space, and they also need a moment to do whatever they need to. Don't put them in a position where they're going to have to say, excuse me, do you mind giving me a little bit of space, do you mind just not coming around so much, etc. Can you see how something like that can have a bad experience among colleagues, putting you in a bad vibe, and then resulting in you not feeling as great as you could when you are going to see the next customer? This is why the topic is a good environment will result in a good customer experience. Okay, so keep those things in mind. Always consider your actions, how it's going to affect you, how it's going to affect your colleague, and what the result of that is. Okay, you don't want to end up reporting something that's not that serious, but at the end of the day, if something simple happens all the time, it's going to make you unhappy in that space. Okay, so then it's going to come to a point where you're going to have to address it, and that is going to really affect how um, other people feel again. You understand? So it's going to affect your customer experience, it's going to affect your team spirit, etc. So try and be proactive and try and respect other people's personal space and items, and that way you can expect the same for your personal space and your items. Then tone. So if for example you are a lot of people in the branch, or a lot of people in the store, and you have a lot to do, then sometimes your tone can come across rude or disrespectful, because you're just trying to get things done, you're just trying to do whatever you need to do, and so you're saying like, do this, do that, you know what I mean, you're just trying to get out the tasks, and so you're just verbalizing everything basically, but you're not self-aware enough to be to listen to how that message is coming across to your colleague. So keep in mind when that happens. It could be a colleague that is a bit sensitive in terms of, receiving feedback. Or if you, for example, in a manager position and you say something in a strict tone or something in a harsh tone, then a new colleague or a new person that's working there, you could frighten that person, and the person who you could end up losing that person, for example, because the person won't be able to or wouldn't want to address the situation because you're the manager, you understand, and you're constantly speaking that way. But meanwhile, it could not be your intention. You just have a lot to do and you are just doing what you need to do, but you're not being self aware enough with regards to your tone, making the environment sour or making your colleagues unhappy by the way you are speaking. Okay, so be mindful of that. And always, it's a good thing if you are a manager to just let your staff know that you have an open door policy and you would like to hear anything they have to say. And if you hired a mature team of staff members, you know that they're going to do so professionally and they are just doing it for the success of the entire office or the store or whatever the case may be. So don't be freaked out if someone that's in a lower ranking than you wants to just give you a little bit of feedback so that everyone can be a little bit happier in the office, resulting in good customer experience and resulting in good sales, etc. You see how it's all tied. Then I'm going to talk about something. It's also sort of linked to the JK brand. It's called jealousy of your colleague's success. So, if you have a personal, I always talk about when you look at the JK Tone series, you need to go watch all the episodes and to basically understand my thoughts on tone. And I also talk about like jealousy and all of those things. So this is more linked to the JK brand, but I would like to talk about it within a customer experience um, situation. You know how it can result in a bad customer experience. So for example, if you got an overachiever in your branch and you got a sales driven environment, and now your one colleague is standing out in the branch, reaching all the targets, just having success at work, you know what I mean. Now you've got a situation where you maybe have a colleague, or maybe you are the colleague that's jealous of this person that is successful. Okay, so how this affects customer experience is now, for example, maybe it's showing up in your behavior. Now you maybe don't want to greet the person, now you don't want to chat to the person, now you maybe start gossiping about the person, now you making up stories about the person so that your other colleagues can also not like the person. Now you coming up with all these ridiculous things in a professional space, which is not the way to go. Okay, it is not the way to go. But I'm going to tell you today how you can make turn something like that, and how you can change it into an opportunity so that you can be successful as well. Okay, because it happens, people get jealous, but how you convert that into an opportunity so that you can also succeed is what matters. Remember, you're in a professional space, you are not in a personal space. Therefore, you need to clearly understand when you around your personal people and when you're with colleagues. So, what you have learned about your colleague, even if you are working with your colleague for years, you don't know that person, you don't stay with the person, you don't know the person's family, you don't know the person's behavior, you don't know the person may have a work personality, but you don't know the person completely. So, therefore, be careful when you try and do things like that when it comes to another person's success and acting out and trying to disrupt that person's working environment. Be careful because you don't know that person. Like I said, that is your colleague. That person is showing their work personality most likely, and so you don't know what the consequences of that will lead to. It might just really come and bite you when you go too far. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you how you can change something like this into something positive for yourself. What you need to do is, when you see the person as a moment, or you can email the person or message the person or address it in a meeting, you can ask the person, hey there, just have a casual chat with him and let him know that you've noticed that they are successful and that you also want to achieve success at work. um, Ask them, be courageous enough to ask them, are you willing to be my mentor? Are you willing to give me some training? Are you willing to share some tips in terms of how I can improve my work so that I can learn from you and that I can also try and achieve the success that you are achieving? Okay, so most likely that person is going to have a new level of respect for you because you have observed them and you have done things the decent way, asking them for assistance, and they now have the opportunity to take a leadership role where they can give you some advice or guide you towards success. And most likely, if it is a person that's a leader, they would be happy to help you towards success. So you see how things can. So if, for example, you followed the first route, how bad it could be for you. But if now you're doing things that the proper way, the professional way, then you are now able to build a relationship with your colleague as well as learn how to be successful yourself. You might also teach some your colleague something as well. And then I just made a couple of notes here as well. I want to just touch on values again. So, most likely, the company you're working for has values, has ethic, certain things that they want, like a company culture. They talk about things like integrity, honesty, dignity, all of those things, and they expect their staff to demonstrate that. Okay, so when you are talking in a disrespectful tone, whether it is because you're stressed out, whether it is because you are busy, whatever your reason is, remember to go back to the company values or your training material that will show you or let you know what it is that the boss of the company expects from you. Okay, that will give you some guidance. So remember, it is not a personal environment where you can just um, do whatever you want to do. Like, for example, if you a pal of yours, the two of you are chilling in your room and you putting your cell phones wherever, and you texting on her cell phone or checking her social media, etc., and she allows that, and that is just the relationship you guys have. But if you go to a work environment and you have another colleague there, you're not going to do that because it is a professional space. So it's important to know the difference when you're at work and when you're in a personal space. Okay, because if you're going to make things difficult for another person, or you're making it difficult you're most likely making it difficult for yourself, and the result is you're going to be unhappy. So if you're not someone that's willing to address it professionally or formally, then you're going to sit with that quietly, and now you're not going to know how you're going to deal with the situation, so you're keeping it all in. And now you need to give good customer service to whoever's working in the branch, but now your face is sour, or you look unhappy, or you already starting to apply for jobs in your lunchtime because you know that you don't want to be there because of so many reasons that I just mentioned now, but you're not talking about it, and now you're unhappy in that environment. Therefore, I say, if you have a good environment, then it will reflect in your customer experience and in your MPS rating. And so be mindful of your colleagues, how you're treating them, and be mindful of the way you are being treated. And if you need assistance, then go to your manager and ask for some help, or ask how to deal with the situation. Okay, so I would like to hear your thoughts and experiences on customer experience or your work environment. What type of things make you unhappy in a work environment? How did you deal with it? And what was the result of it? Did it have a good result? Did it have a bad result? Etc. So let me know down in the comment box, or Google Solo to Brands by Andrea, and then you will find my email address there, and then you can send me an anonymous letter so that I can then read through it and possibly publish it or do another video on social media. Thank you.